It's time for ACC Central, presented by Just Means Less.
I drive into right. It's enough. It's back. And it's gone for the cycle. It's a walk-off grand slam. Florida State wins it.
Hosted by Monty Taylor.
In the air, center field. Moore is under it. And on to Omaha for the Cardinals.
Micah Butel.
Fly ball driven into left field. Spin. Does he do it? He does. A walk-off homer by Ken Schmidt.
And Nick Dioli.
Gets it down. Here comes Puck. He is safe. And Boston College wins.
This ball off the plate for 2 balls, 2 strikes. Monty just got landed on.
There are 2 pigeons roosting right above me, and my can of Pepsi
Smacked into right field. And
Welcome back, ACC fans. It's been a hot second since you've seen us together. There's still no Micah. His quest for Cotton Eye Joe continues. Nick, how are we doing, buddy?
I'm a little concerned for Micah because it's been a long time, and I think he should just give up on that.
If we were a Big 12 or SEC school, I'm sure he'd show up.
He cannot beat the allegations anymore. So that's all I'm saying.
Or even if we were just Wichita State, he might show up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Somewhere in the heartland, I guess. So not on the coast. So
Nope. Not in the ACC. Nick, you didn't get to see any baseball this weekend.
I did not. No, I did not get to see any this weekend, but I was at the Wake State series the week before, and we did not get to record then. So, but I did not go anywhere this week.
We're not talking about that one.
I know
That's in the past.
It's still cemented in my brain.
All right. We're going to do something a little different. We're not going to go through each series little by little. We're going to kind of do some discussion topics here. And I wanted to start, I tweeted this out yesterday, Nick, and I'm sure you saw it. The depth of the conference. I think that the ACC is as deep as it's ever been, which should be a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Except that, I don't know if the national narrative is aware of that. And it feels like some of these teams are eating each other alive and hurting them a little bit. I think of like a Pitt who just swept Virginia. We know Pitt's legit, right? But Pitt just went 1-5 against Cal and Virginia Tech. And I have a feeling that stretch is going to be what keeps them out of the tournament. Talk to me a little bit about the depth and how deep this conference is, because it feels like any team on any given weekend, even if you're Notre Dame, because if you're Notre Dame, you've got Jack Riddell on Friday night. Clemson is still, a very dangerous but snake-bitten team. I mean, any given weekend, you are not guaranteed a W in this conference.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like I was thinking about this for the last couple of weeks, actually, Monty.
Oh, okay.
When I did my power rankings, there was a clear cutoff of who I thought was going to be in, and it's less than you would think. And like I cut it off at 8 teams in the ACC, but I know that 9 through 16, any given day, they can win. And this week showed that 9 through 16 can win any given day.
Yeah, and so, I have 7 locks, and then I think an 8th bid getting in. Obviously, if the season ended right now, I think 8 get in with NC State in there. But we'll talk about NC State in a little bit because they're in a little bit of a free fall. But we'll talk about that in a second. The depth of the conference is great, except again, it seems like they're kind of eating each other a little bit because I think Pitt should have a shot. Virginia Tech has a shot. Louisville swept Clemson, but I think it might be a little bit too little too late for them. But obviously, if they go on and win both their last 9 ACC games, not all of them, but if they go like 7-2, that probably sets them up to get back in. Stanford and Cal are probably safely out, but they're as dangerous as anybody, right? Like Miami survived Cal by the skin of their teeth this weekend.
Yeah.
And Stanford absolutely just walked off Florida State twice and swept them. So, it's absolutely insane. Obviously, Notre Dame put a scare into Boston College. Duke put a scare into North Carolina. Those are teams that are probably not getting in or even getting to the bubble, but they're dangerous teams, especially when you've got somebody like Jack Riddell on the mound for Notre Dame and that offense that they're capable of having. It's just a wide open conference. And the problem is that if this was the SEC, there'd be some reward for that, right? You'd be looking at 11 teams, 12 team bids, but that's not going to happen. That's just not the way it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm worried. I'm hoping we can get 9 bids. It's looking like 8. It just has to be more than 7, because that's what I'm afraid of, is that they beat each other up enough that it ends up costing the conference 2 bids.
Yeah, and then I think we'll see a lot more different teams, not just SEC teams, because I think they're a lock at usually around 11. But you'll see more Big 12, you'll see more Big 10, you'll see a lot of Sun Belt, maybe some multiple A10. So we'll see, but yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Monty. It feels like 7's a lock, 8 is a stretch, and
I think 7's a lock, 8 has a chance, but 9 might be a stretch. But that's why I think they should have 9. But I don't know if they're going to get 9.
Yeah, and it is cool to see though, like these teams like that we kind of wrote off, kind of build back some life and make things interesting down the stretch. I mean, I kind of like that, in the beginning of the season and even the first week of conference play, we were very high on Pitt and thinking that they could be a tournament team. We haven't said that in pretty much over a month, and now they're kind of back in the conversation. You look at Stanford. I mean, I'm not writing them off just yet. They still have winnable series against NC State, Cal, and somebody else I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, the problem is just I don't know if they can make up the RPI difference.
Right, yeah. And like I would love to go back and like, I don't know, the Nebraska win keeps getting better for them.
They have a lot of bad losses too.
They do have a lot of bad losses.
So a lot of those midweeks, because it was funny, because I was like, oh man, Stanford did it was the weekend they went to Virginia Tech, I think it was, and they won that series, and then Cal had swept Pitt same weekend, and I was like, oh man, look at those two, and then both went back and dropped the midweek against very inferior teams, and It's like, come on, guys,
right?
So it's interesting, but it's exciting. It's a lot of fun, but it does create some unpredictability.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because like somebody called it, I want to say Ben Upton in a group chat when I mentioned the ACC is crazy, they're eating each other alive. He goes, it's the all circus conference, which is it's not quite making fun of it. It's just kind of a circus right now, because outside of Georgia Tech and UNC and Boston College, we kind of have just all sorts of stuff going on. So ultimately, how many bids do you think you're going to go with? How many did you say at the beginning of the year? Do you know?
I think I said 10 or 11.
Which is crazy. Why? I don't know why we thought that.
Yeah,
I probably wasn't too far off on that, but like it's so easy in the beginning of the season to get caught up in the optimism as well, and it's hard to convince yourself that of what the cutoff is going to be, because you're like, oh, this team feels like a tournament team. This team feels like a tournament team. Oh, I'm Nick Dioli. I'm gonna put Boston College in, but I don't know how I'm going to leave somebody out now.
Yeah.
and then some people go back and they decide that Boston College is out of it after 2 weeks.
Who would do that?
Speaking of Boston College, they have a chance to host, Nick.
They do. I'm pushing the narrative. I am pushing the narrative.
They have They have 6 ACC games left. Obviously, exam break this weekend. If they go 4-2, that gives them 20 ACC wins, Nick.
Yeah.
No, a team that has won 20 games in the ACC has never not hosted.
Yeah, they
The problem with that is they've got to go to Clemson and host Georgia Tech. Those are the 6 games. So
where are they in the? Okay, so they're 25th in the RPI right now.
Yeah. They're going to get points just by they're going to go up just by playing Georgia Tech. You saw Wake went up in RPI despite getting swept.
Yeah, right. So that's a big opportunity. I meant to put out my ACC tier list rankings this morning, but I messed something up, couldn't put it out this morning, so I have to fix it tonight. But in that is a big narrative of pushing Boston College to host.
By the way,
they deserve it.
Props to the new backdrop there, the Boston College
Beautiful.
retro jersey. Shout out to Jake, the equipment manager, for hooking me up with that, and the bird ball cap.
That's so sick.
So
that is a beautiful hat.
Absolutely. I'm really excited about that. This just got brought up. Remember last year, a team that won the ACC regular season had never hosted. Look what happened to GT. That's a good point. However, Georgia Tech only won 19 games. So, I'm convinced that if Georgia Tech had won a 20th game, they still would have found a way not to let them host. So that would have been the first 20 non-team, but we'll see. It would be great to see a Brighton Regional. The thing that is helping out Boston College that wouldn't have helped out Georgia Tech is the Northeast is a bit empty, right? Like in terms of hosting, right? Like I think maybe UConn hosted in like 2019 or something, but other than that, it's pretty devoid of hosting. So if you're, I know kind of what hurt Georgia Tech. They were talking about Athens is hosting, Auburn's hosting, Tallahassee's hosting. All these teams nearby are hosting in the South, and that's not going to be a case for Boston College. So that'll help. But 3 of their games against Georgia Tech is going to be brutal. But if they somehow go on the road and sweep Clemson, that's going to set them up very nicely to go 4-2. Because then all they have to do is just pull off 1 win against Georgia Tech at home. It's the last weekend of the season. It's going to be interesting. Should be a fun one. I wanted to go up there, but I went and looked at hotels, Nick, and it's graduation weekend for Boston College.
Yes.
And there's no reasonable hotels, so I will be staying in the Triangle, it looks like, for possibly Duke and Wake and NC State UNC.
That'll be fun. I have a quick question. Do you think if that 20th win for Georgia Tech was Clemson and they won that series, you think they host?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that would be 20th,
but if that 20th win had been like Virginia Tech or Pitt on a Sunday when they didn't sweep, I think it would have screwed them. But what does Miami have to do to host? Now, this is where I wish we had Micah because he's a little bit better with this stuff. Miami is 12-9. Where are they in the RPI since you have it up?
They are 31st. So
31st
back from Boston College.
So they're going to need some help. They're going to need to obviously take care of their midweeks, which shouldn't be a problem. Trying to see their schedule.
Don't lose to NC State.
We will talk about NC State in a second, buddy.
Yeah.
Louisville, Florida State on the road. They've got a shot. If they go 7-2, I wouldn't be surprised. 6-3 or 7-2 could put them in the hosting conversation. It's just the narrative. The thing that's driving me nuts is the narrative against them. They should have been. I feel like they should have been ranked this week. And I know that D1 kind of came out and they wanted to, they thought about Miami to drop Florida and Alabama, but then they ran into the problem with the resume of Miami's resume versus Florida's resume. And I don't see it necessarily happening, but I think they'd have to go 6-3 or 7-2 just to get in the conversation, and then possibly do some damage in the ACC tournament. So
I think your other problem is you have so many possible hosting sites in the state of Florida. You got Florida State, Florida's still in the conversation. UCF isn't out of it yet. So Miami's got a path. There is a path. It's just a windy path.
Well, Georgia Tech, Auburn,
Yeah,
all in that. Yeah, so
all in
right
that
there next to
vicinity.
them. So, but yeah, moving on. We're gonna talk some more of that kind of stuff throughout the show. But what about your surprise of the weekend, Nick? What was your biggest surprise?
Oh man, I mean, how can you not say the Stanford Cardinals sweeping Florida State? I mean, that was very impressive, and I think that surprised a lot of people. I get it, Florida State's dealing with some injuries. I didn't drop them really a lot last week after what had happened, but I'm genuinely pretty shocked that they went on the road and got swept by I think a better Stanford team than last season. They're starting to actually show signs of real life here. But that is my shock of the week.
Yeah, the problem with Stanford has been their pitching, but obviously they had some big pitching performances this weekend. But shout out to our girl Kaylee, who predicted a Stanford series win, by the way.
Kaylee pulls the most obscure series victories out of her ass, and they happen. It's crazy. I don't know how she does that.
I don't think I mean we all picked Virginia, but I don't think any of us were that surprised by Pitt.
No.
So yeah, I mean Stanford's probably the right answer. I think that's got to be the right answer, but how about Louisville Clemson? I want to throw this out there because I was the only one that picked Louisville, and I was the only one that picked Virginia Tech, by the way.
Yes.
And it was like when NC State's going to Blacksburg, and it's like everyone forgot that NC State's in a bit of a free fall, except for me, Nick. And then Brett Renfro and Griffin Stieg had to be what we expected them to be before the season in order for Virginia Tech to win the series. But Virginia Tech did grind out a big series win. Oh, that's a good shout out.
Oh, I just saw that. That's a good one.
I was not surprised. I wouldn't have turned the game. I would have turned the game off if I had been surprised. I wouldn't have even paid attention to it. So if there was a team in the conference that was going to come back from 10-0 and a team that was going to give up the 10-0 lead, those were the two teams. Because we've seen Wake Forest do it before. Last year, I think they did it twice to Clemson, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a good shout out. But yeah, it's interesting. But but talk to me a little bit about the Clemson Louisville series. Louisville sweeps Clemson. Clemson completely, kind of out of it. Tage Davis now the program record holder for home runs with 26.
Nice.
I didn't say 69.
Yeah, I think this was just Clemson throwing up the white flag, and kudos to Louisville. I mean, I still don't think they're going to do anything this season. I think it's a little too late for them.
They still have one of the best offenses in the country, and that's where this eating each other alive thing comes into play. Yeah,
exactly. Louisville still wouldn't shock me if they did something to some. If they shocked the team, it wouldn't shock me.
I know their RPI is not great, but they've got Wake Forest in Winston-Salem this weekend. They got at Miami at the Light, and then versus Virginia, and they also have at Vanderbilt.
There's a lot of opportunity there.
So if they get red hot, now they'd have to get red hot. They can't just go 5-5. But if they went red hot, they're going to be in the discussion if they got red hot, because that RPI will jump big time, especially unless of course they went red hot and then somehow lost to Bellarmine, which Bellarmine on May 12th screams a rainout somehow. One of the we're going to get into the midweek rainouts, phantom rainouts here in a couple of weeks.
Let's see if they go 6-3 in those series. That puts them at
plus 7-3 against if you include the Vanderbilt.
Okay, yeah. So
7-3.
7-3. So that would put them at 35-21 with a pretty good conference record. You'd be at 18 wins in the conference, or 17 wins in the conference,
which is a lock from what we've been told. Right? Like there's again we say a lock because there's never been a 17-win team that's been left out. That being said, Louisville, like most of the time, you don't get left out with 16 wins. Yet a couple of years ago, Louisville was. So we'll see, but it's going to be fun to see how that shakes out. Louisville's got a shot. It's not a great one, but they could do it. That's a tough 9 games in the conference, and then winning at Vanderbilt. I mean, you got to think that's all going to help their RPI as well, big time. So Louisville, not quite too little too late. It could be, but we'll see how they do. Maybe this sweep is the boost they needed to kind of get over it. But Clemson's pretty much done and dusted at this point.
Absolutely, yeah, they are done.
Right now, they're playing to avoid starting the ACC tournament at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, because that's where they're sitting right now. Clemson is scheduled. I think Clemson and Louisville, if the season ended today, Clemson and Louisville will be playing the 9 a.m. game, 9 seed versus the 16 seed.
Wow.
So based on the standings I'm looking at, I could be wrong, but all right, let's go to the panic meter, Nick.
Yep.
All right. Wow, we already crossed off one of my things from later on in the show. But the panic meter. The panic meter. Let's talk hosting for 2 teams.
Okay.
Florida State and Virginia. Both just got swept on the road in the ACC. Both have dropped towards the bottom end of the top 25. I think they might be out of the hosting conversation, or not out of the conversation, but out of the hosting spots projected right now. How are we feeling about what's the panic meter for Florida State's hosting chances? If you're a Florida State guy, 1 to 10, what's the panic meter at, Nick?
Let's see. Let me look at the rest of their schedule. For Florida State, let's see. We've got Pitt at home, at Clemson, finishing off with Miami. I think it's time to panic a little bit. I'm hovering over the panic meter because, Miami is looking to host, and that's the end of your season. And Pitt is red hot right now. And I don't know, at Clemson is kind of scary. So they need to beat Miami for sure, and they need to beat Pitt. I don't know if that's going to be possible. Luckily, they're both at home. So we'll see. I would say right now, FSU has a 50-50 shot.
You didn't answer the question.
What was the
Scale of 1 to 10.
5.
It's a 5? You made it sound like it's worse.
Well, if I'm going 50-50 shot, my panic meter is like a 5 or a 6.
I'm putting it at a 7.
Okay.
I think it's a little bit panic. All right, Virginia. They have lost 3. They're going into an exam break. They got George Mason tomorrow and Norfolk State on Wednesday. Obviously, have to win both of those. Mm-hmm. And then this weekend, I think they've got some game, a doubleheader on Sunday or something to kind of. They normally take the entire weekend off, but with the Chris Pollard era, I think it's changed a bit. So they'll have some other mid majors. So it's Radford. They got to win those games.
Yeah, so they got a doubleheader against Radford, Cal at home.
Yep.
Then Richmond for a midweek, and then at Louisville.
They can't drop any more of their games, and they have to win that Louisville series. They obviously have to win the Cal series as well, but 4-2. I don't know if 4-2 with getting swept by Pitt is going to do it if somebody gets red hot behind them, but we'll see. I mean, taking care of business is the first step. Get yourself in the conversation and then do some damage in the tournament. Win a game or 2 in the ACC tournament.
Who do you think he needs to do? Well, I guess it all depends. So I'll just not ask that. But
So 1 to 10, what's your panic meter at for Virginia?
I think the schedule is a little bit better for them than Florida State, so I'll go like a 4 right now.
So you're feeling confident that they're going to host.
I think they're just going to crush those mid majors, and then they're going to get hot, and then we'll see them against Cal, and then we'll see where Louisville is at. It would just be weird the whole state of Virginia not to host. I don't know.
It happened last year.
Did happen last year. Where are you at?
I'm at a 7. I think both teams are it's panic time. I think Florida State has more of a shot. I maybe I should put Virginia at an 8 because I think even if they go 4-2, it's going to be a tough upward climb. But we'll see. So I put Florida State at 7, UVA at an 8. Now let's talk overall picture here. Panic meter. NC State.
Yeah, we're at an 8 for NC State.
As it stands, I think NC State's in, but I think their non-conference schedule is really hurting them. So if they end up on the bubble, they could be left out.
Yeah.
So right now, I think they're still kind of safely in, but like lose a couple more series down the stretch here. Like you're looking at a collapse that's going to keep you out. Right now, they're our 8th team in, right?
Yeah, they're my 8th team in right now. Yeah.
Right. But if they lose a couple more series, they're going to be on the wrong side of that.
Yeah, and the schedule is not kind. I mean, you got Miami coming to you, and
you got UNC at the end.
UNC at the end, and I don't love going to Stanford before UNC,
especially with what Stanford just did to Florida State.
Yeah, and not to mention Stanford last year.
Yep, is why NC State
came to Raleigh and beat them 2-3, which got them out of a hosting spot.
Right.
So, I mean, look, this team, the bats are very mediocre, and the pitching. I mean, these guys are just missing Marone and Duden. Now, Marone hopefully will be back. I don't know if he'll be back this week, but he should, at the latest, be back against Carolina. There's opportunity. I mean, there are two. Miami's not ranked in D1, right? I mean, they're still in the conversation. Miami is. You've got opportunity ahead of you, but I don't know, man. I'm not seeing a lot of life since those injuries.
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed with the Saturday game. I thought Ryder Guarino had a season-saving performance there because it was back and forth. It was a really fun game. I think I compared it to a basketball game on Saturday. You also had 2 weather delays, which was annoying as heck. But Ryder Guarino comes in. I think they were down 1 at the time. They were either down 1 or up 1, and he went perfect. 3 perfect innings, 7 strikeouts.
Yeah,
as good as I've seen him. And obviously in that time the NC State offense was able to extend their lead. They win comfortably 14-7 to even that series. And I was like, okay, NC State's kind of got this. And then Sunday, don't quite get the job done. And Virginia Tech manages to win that game very late. Virginia Tech, on the other hand, now has a chance to get into the tournament because even though they're only 22-20, I think they've got a very, very favorable non-conference schedule that's propping them up.
Yeah.
And the fact that they have not been swept in all those series they've lost is helping them out. So all of a sudden they're kind of in that conversation behind Pitt a little bit, but reel off some series wins here for Virginia Tech, and all of a sudden you're looking at a tournament team out of nowhere. Which would be the antithesis of what they've done in the last 3 years.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, the schedule down the stretch, I mean, the way Virginia Tech is playing is pretty favorable. And there are, like you just said, with their out of conference schedule, is favoring them a lot. Their RPI is 38. They have to go to Cal. So going there is going to help a lot. Going to Liberty, who's a top 25 team for me, and an RPI of 36, that's huge. And then you finish off with Clemson. You have UNCG and Marshall in the middle there.
Got to take care of those. Can't drop those. Virginia Tech has dropped a couple of those.
I mean, Monty, with VT, Cal, or I'm sorry, not Cal, Virginia Tech and Pitt and Louisville. Let's throw those three in there. Who has the best shot to play their way in right now?
The way Pitt's swinging the bats, the problem is there's just the problem with Pitt and Louisville is the pitching. It's like, if they get consistent pitching out of, which can still happen. Like, I've seen teams figure out pitching situations this late, right? Remember 2024 Virginia, how late they figured out their bullpen situation? It could be something like that. And then all of a sudden that, something just clicks and guys start producing. Anything's possible for Pitt and Louisville. Virginia Tech, if you're getting that consistency out of Renfro and Stieg every given weekend, that's something. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it all goes down. I'm going to say Virginia Tech just because they have I don't know. No, I don't like that. No, I'm going to go Pitt.
Pitt?
Yeah.
Their wins are loud. Their wins are louder right now.
Mm-hmm.
They have the sweeps. They have good wins. They were up there in the beginning of the season. So I do like that pick. I think if I were to rank it, it would be Pitt, Virginia Tech, Louisville. Yeah.
I'm good with that. By the way, going back to the NC State, my panic meter, about a 7. I mean, I feel like they should have the ability to overcome, but like from a self-esteem or like it seems like they just deflated with the two injuries.
Yeah.
Like in a couple of years ago when Hogue went down with the broken leg, when Van Dam got the UCL injury, they rallied on that. They got better because they rallied and found a way. You had guys stepping up like, Consiglio, and Duden and Marone. And this year, you're not necessarily seeing that as much. Hopefully, I mean, Garino looks like he stepped up. He looks like one of the more underrated top end relievers in the conference. But the bats have no excuse. Like, they didn't have any injuries, like, to their,
right.
So, I want to see NC State rally, and I'm just not sure. It's a very different situation for 2024. Obviously, it wasn't 2 primary members of your rotation that were aces, but it was one very important arm and a piece of your lineup. So I don't know, Nick. It's I'm going to say a 7 for them just because I think there's still enough time, but it's not a very forgiving schedule.
Yeah, and I think the difference with this team and that 24 team is the guys who rallied together. They were all vets. Mac,
and that offense was elite as well. Like,
Serrano.
I mean, the middle of your lineup. I mean, Serrano was batting 6th. Middle of your lineup was Cozart, Pennington, and Makarevich. Brandon Butterworth was like 7th or 8th in the order, something like that.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, your only like vet guy that can rally the troops is Nixon.
Chris McHugh's a guy.
Chris McHugh's the guy too. That is true.
But anyway, by the way, Rhett Johnson, elite. I mean, I feel like I never see him get out. Like, obviously he's getting out half the time, but the other half the time I swear I see every time he gets on base. I'm like, man, that kid is back on first base. Let's talk about Wake Forest, Nick. 10 more home runs this weekend, Nick.
Yeah.
I can't believe they stole Georgia Tech's pitch comms as well, man.
Can't believe it.
Can't believe it. First they stole NC State's, now they're stealing Georgia Tech's. It's outrageous. No, they seem Wake Forest seemed to enjoy hitting at down on the flats. The pitching did not have a great time. Before we talk about Wake and in terms of the panic thing, I think they're safely in as a 2 seed right now, but obviously they've got some work to do. But talk to me about your thoughts on that series, because it was a pretty entertaining series, and Wake Forest led in all 3 games, could have won all 3 games.
Oh man, Monty, this was such an opportunity for the Deeks. Like, this would have been the story of the weekend. Georgia Tech swept at home by Wake Forest. And I think that puts Wake Forest firmly in a conversation of hosting with what they have left on their schedule. I mean, if you sweep number 3, I think in D1 on the road, I mean, you're thinking about like, yeah, Wake's got a legit shot of hosting in Winston-Salem. And it was right there in front of you. You let in all 3 games. You let 10-0 in game 2. I just like, I couldn't believe the meltdowns that they had. And not only that, in game 3, they came back and took the lead.
Mm-hmm.
And then they gave it up. So, I mean, that is very, very deflating if you're Wake Forest. You had a shot to be in a hosting bid conversation, and it just all went by the wayside.
On the other hand, we got to see Georgia Tech kind of figure out other ways to win again. And they won close games. All 3 games were 3 runs or less. 2 of them were 1-run losses. You had to use different relievers. Obviously, you can't use Patel for 3 innings and then have him come back out and pitch the other 2 games. So you had to use other relievers to kind of get this job done. Cooper Underwood, the freshman, with his best ever start, lowering his ERA from like 10.58 down to 7.5. But fun fact, Nick, his ACC ERA is 2.45.
Wow.
Yeah, he got lit up remember, he was the starter Sunday guy.
Wow.
But a huge thing. I mean, that could be a huge boost for him if that is what, that could be a turning point for him. And all of a sudden, Georgia Tech gets another dude because they've already got Caden Gaudette, who's emerged, Mason Patel and Dylan Loy. Jackson Blakely's has been really good for them. I was surprised that they went with Shattuck over Bersma. I thought Bersma had pitched well outside of that UNC game. I thought it was interesting that they pulled him and went with Shattuck in game 2, because Shattuck seems like one of those guys that is just, he's meant to be a high leverage reliever. And the starting did not go well, obviously, as you saw in the game. So just interesting there. But Georgia Tech pitching, they've got some dudes. It's just a matter of again figuring out exactly where to slot these guys in. Brett Barfield's also been really good this year. I forgot about him. So
yeah.
Dimitri Angelakos, another guy that's been really good for them. So it's just funny that they've got these guys, they've got the pitching. It's just a matter of figuring it out. And it's also Tate McKee, who cracks me up because he got lit up in game 1, but then grinded through 6 innings. I think he gave up 3 runs in the first inning.
Yeah, right.
I think he ended up giving up 4 runs overall and then kind of cruised for 6 innings. I'm the way he's able to grind through some outings when he's not at his best is huge. I mean, I think he's a middle of the road Friday guy in the ACC, but then when he's able to grind through there's not many guys that can grind through that kind of a result, I feel like. But I don't know how many are also given the leash to do that like he is. So, but yeah, it's interesting there. But Georgia Tech, it's a good thing they didn't get swept, I'm going to say, because we want Georgia Tech and UNC to be as good as possible, I think. Obviously, I think a 2-1 series win would have been a bit nicer in terms of ACC needs, because I don't know if we wanted Wake being swept either. But Wake Forest, what's the panic meter for Wake Forest overall? I think it's got to be lower, right? You're not too panicked. It's obviously disappointing, but you can't let this series define you or stay in your head. I think I was really impressed with how they came out Sunday, because a lot of teams might be super deflated after that loss, blowing the 10-run lead, and they came out and they fought really hard. Ultimately didn't go their way, but they just need to keep a strong mentality heading into this weekend against Louisville. They'll start, it's a short week because they got Louisville Thursday through Saturday this week.
Yeah. I think of the teams we mentioned, like missing the tournament, I think my panic meter is at like a 3 or a 4. There's a lot of opportunity. They have a midweek against Liberty, which is going to help their RPI a lot. Louisville at home, if they win, of course.
Are they on the road at Liberty?
Yes.
Ooh.
I believe they're on the road at Liberty.
I think so, because they played at home to Liberty earlier, right?
They did. Yes. And they finish off with Duke on the road, which could be a scary series for them.
That Duke team fights and is tough.
Yeah.
So who knows? Like, Duke's only been swept once, and it was up in Boston College.
Yeah, I think for Wake, they really need to be on their P's and Q's in Durham because Duke is a team that will make you pay. But yeah, I think Wake, we saw the best of them and the worst of them all in one series. And I think if they could just apply to be a little bit better, they should be fine as a 2 seed.
It's funny you mentioned that. I saw somebody tweeted it perfectly. It's, trying to figure out this Wake team. They're a team that can go to Omaha, but they're also a team that can go 2 and out. And get dominated. Like they could, they are a very hot, cold team. I was pleased the Bats didn't go cold this week. Because remember for the last month or so, it's been hot one week, cold the next week, hot the next week. And then this week it was looking like it was going to, I was like, oh, they're going to be cold again. And then the Bats were still hot. I mean, they hit 10 home runs. Cade Lewis had 4. They've hit 33 home runs since April 14th. So,
I mean, that's kind of been Wake's MO the last 2 years. Like they could go to Omaha and they could be 0-2 and out like they did in Greenville. They should have won that regional. They didn't. And they went the distance with Tennessee in the Knoxville regional last year.
Well, pitching off with Falco against VCU was against Chris McHugh and Virginia Commonwealth, Nick.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. No, I mean it wasn't the fact they pitched off, because if I recall, Wake Forest only gave up 1 run. It was just Christian Gordon for VCU was outstanding. I think it was Christian Gordon and then Brian Curley, who went to Georgia after that. That kind of delivered that. But and then of course you had it was Savage versus Burns for the elimination game, which everyone thought that was going to be the setup for the 1-0 game.
Right.
So, and now both are major leaguers.
Both are major leaguers and doing pretty well in the major leagues.
Yep. So, pretty cool. But that feels like so long ago now because they're in the major leagues. Like that makes it feel like longer for some reason.
Like there are 3 current big leaguers that were just in that regional. Kurtz, Burns, and Yasevich.
That's crazy.
Wild.
Crazy. All right. Let's talk about the West Coast.
What's going on?
We've talked about Stanford a bit, but how about Cal? Cal comes into the light, by the way. Their pitching staff this weekend with their starting rotation. What the hell? You see a bubble? You see a bubble pop up? Okay, I don't know what that was. Let me see what. I don't know. That was weird. But anyway, Cal's rotation of De La Torre, Gavinetti, they both go 8 innings, by the way. And then Otto Espinoza on Sunday goes 4, and I think they had a 2.70 ERA over the 3 games. They obviously gave themselves a chance. Miami, props to them to come back and they walk off the series on. They come back and win that game on Saturday, and then kind of dominate on Sunday or cruise to a 4-1 victory. I don't know about dominate, but Cal really. I was like, man, is Cal going to win another series this time on the road at Miami? And they didn't, but that Cal team's dangerous, man. That rotation, again, still so good. I mean, De La Torre and Gavinetti have just been phenomenal all season. It's been their strength. I told you guys before the season it was a strength. It remains a strength. Otto Espinoza is a dude. He's still learning, but he's going to be fun to watch over the next couple of years. But this Cal team, I wish they did not have such a tough schedule to start the year.
Yeah.
In terms of the ACC, because they faced the 3 best teams in terms of ERA, and Chris Lavonis, and if you take out those 10 games, they went 0-10 in those games. They went 1-1 in the other 2 games. So, but Stanford and Cal, much better, I think, even though they're balling out tournament teams, much better at this time now than they were last year.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Stanford and Cal, I think this time last year were the bottom feeders of the conference. And now we are like, they're playing very exciting baseball. Like, I enjoy watching Stanford this weekend. Cal kept things very interesting down in Coral Gables. Yeah, there are no slouches over there in the West Coast. They are the brands of those programs continue to get better and better as the season goes on. And I can't wait to see these two teams in the ACC tournament because they're gonna spoil somebody's season. I just know it.
I'm going to see them at Virginia Cal. Yeah, it's going to be really fun. I mean, Jet Kennedy might be one of the freshmen of the year. Unbelievable. Teddy Takon might be one of the freshmen of the year for Stanford. And obviously, it was so cool seeing Rintaro hit that walk-off grand slam against Florida State. I mean, that was electric.
That was so cool.
All right, let's wrap this up. Let's talk about some stand-up performances. Who stood out to you this weekend?
In the series loss, but man, I got to bring him up again. Rhett Johnson has just been unbelievable for NC
I thought you were
State.
going to go Cade Lewis.
I almost did. I almost did go Cade.
It felt really weird giving him putting him on team of the weekend when they got swept. But I mean, he had 4 home runs.
He did. Yeah.
So,
but Rhett has been like the gleaming hope right now for NC State. They're kind of like, he's kind of the exciting part of this team. And, he's a freshman standout. So the fact that he continues to grind and continues to have these amazing performances while the team is pretty much in a downward spiral and they hope to rebound this weekend. Rhett Johnson has kind of kept them, afloat a little bit, treading water. So Rhett Johnson's been awesome.
Yeah, shout out to the pitcher of the week, Brett Renfro, who went 8 shutty against NC State. He probably beat out Jason DeCaro, who had 7.2 no earned runs against Duke on Thursday. And then the player of the week, Drew Burris. Now, I said if I assumed that Jaron Advincula was going to get nominated, it was Burris that got nominated. They both electric. So Burris wins player of the week. But the 2 players I kind of want to shout out. I want to shout out Luke Gaffney, who was 7 for 10 in the Louisville sweep and also had 6 walks.
Nice.
So Luke Gaffney, unfortunately, wasn't enough because they lost. But how about Kyle Wolf? He's back, baby. The Wolfman is back. He had 2 home runs on Saturday in the run rule victory and then the go-ahead 2-run blast in Sunday's win over the Irish to help BC stay on track for the hosting possibilities. Those are my 2 really big standouts. Obviously, I talked about Garino. And then how about Freddie Benavides at Pitt going 4 hitless against his former program, Virginia, in their run rule victory on Saturday as well.
That's awesome. Really good.
Yeah. Yeah, we love to see it. Anyway, check out my Team of the Weekend article if you want to see all the standouts. There were plenty, including a ton of honorable mentions. But that's going to do it for us. Hopefully, we'll be back Wednesday with a preview of another weekend. It'll be a shortened weekend with several teams on exam break, but there's enough going on for all of us. Nick, you got anything else you want to share before we let the people go?
Shout out Rob Evans. Tough injury for him.
The good news is it's a sprain, so hopefully, I mean, it could.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were worried it was an ACL or something like that. So
I was very worried about that. Yeah.
So the good news is that he's not out for the year. So
good, because I'm glad he's okay. He's been like the pulse of that rotation for Miami, and I mean they're really going to need him to go the distance in the regionals and hopefully claim a hosting spot, but. He's been nails. He's been on fire. He struggled against Cal, but I'm glad to see that he's okay.
5 straight ACC series wins for the Canes in back-to-back seasons, by the way. They quietly have done that. So shout out to the Miami Hurricanes. I know we talked about Cal a bunch, even though they lost the series to Miami. I don't want to overshadow what Miami has done. So props to them. But until next time, it just means less.